My dad. I don't think he had a bad intention in his body or was capable of having one. Everything he did was out of love, and he'd cry when family visitors would come and visit and have to leave on their final day. When I went to summer camp, and now with Ryan and I living in the West Kootenays, which is an 8-hour drive east of Vancouver, whenever we'd come back and visit, he would tear up, and of course I would too. He just loved very deeply, and he cared about everyone around him, and he only had kindness for everyone that he met. And if I start crying, it's because I'm just amazed at how many people he's had a positive impact on, and so many of them are here and so many of them aren't here, so bear with me. Okay, so rewind. My dad was a street smart kid who grew up on Main and Hastings in Chinatown in the 60s. He's told me grim stories of sort of knowing the different users down there and always humanizing them, always sort of knowing who he could trust and who he couldn't trust, and I always thought he was so cool. Slinging wooden nunchucks, taking taekwondo, getting in alley scraps with other boys. He had a really tough childhood, and he was sure to tell us of that. And I think he grew up more quickly than any child really should ever have to. Working in his grandfather's restaurant near the Ovaltine before and after school when most kids were playing on the playground. Peeling potatoes, he told me, only being allowed to eat the ones with the spots and the blemishes that he couldn't serve to the customers, he told me. I used to joke with my friends that my dad was a gangster, and they really believed me. And I really think that just him growing up in he had a rough childhood, really made him that selfless person that he was, because he didn't want anyone to have it hard like he did. And if I were to describe my dad to someone who never had the pleasure of meeting him, I think I'd share one story that I feel really exemplifies who he was and his essence as a father. It's a story about school lunch. So our dad often showed his love through acts of service and through providing food. And because of this, he brought my brother and I, Graham, lunch almost every day that he could through grades 1 through 7. So combined, that's like 10 years of driving to our school before the bell rang, sneaking into our classroom. You'd hear like the faint jingle of his keys come into the cloakroom, and we'd tuck our lunch bags into our cubbies and then run away, and all our friends would be like, Christie, your dad's here, and I'd be half embarrassed and half really excited. And I just think that's such an amazing thing to do, and I'm baffled that any parent would do that for their child or their children. Once he brought me chicken congee for lunch, and I tricked all my friends into thinking that the mushrooms were slugs. And they believed me. And then when we finally started, refusing the special service because it was not cool in high school anymore, I think it must have broken his heart a little bit, and I still feel kind of bad about that. But still, I'm baffled that he would do such a beautiful thing. But this was our dad, and growing up into my 20s, he always let me be myself. He always, let me have fun, go to that party, pick me up, picked up that random piece of acrylic or weird art material I needed for a project that he didn't understand. He always let me be myself, and he never judged me, and I really appreciate him for that. And over the last few weeks, like my mom has said, many of you have been describing sort of this moment that you met him, or really fond memories of him, and warm, gentle, inviting, friendly, charming, funny. These are the things that these are the ways you describe him. And I didn't know Mom was going to say this, but again, no pretension. Just he was 100% himself, and he couldn't be anything else, even if he tried. He'd wear a toque and paint-splattered shorts and his long t-shirts with a vest, and he'd go run his errands, and he didn't care, and that was just his charm. He created good feelings in the hearts of others, and I really admire and respect that about him. So thank you all for being here, for celebrating his life. I know if I asked him now, he'd have a story or a funny memory to share about all of you, because he never forgot his. So thank you.